Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hello, friends. Oh, okay. Hello, friends, enemies, strangers, kind mothers. Hmm. The the quest of the historical Jesus. Hmm. I don't know. I don't like that title. Maybe it should have been titled "In Search of the Historical Jesus" or "The Quest for the Historical Jesus" by Albert Schweitzer. But what do I know? Hmm. Let's see. Wait a minute. Let me invite someone to see what I'm doing. Let's see. See, maybe I could go like this and go that, and go like this. Uh, Okay. So I'm going to read this book. I'm going to read this book. Well, I'm a slow reader because I read something and I don't understand it, and I go back and read it again, and then have to look up words in Google. So I spend 1 hour on one page. So let's see. This book. I'm gonna start reading it. Why did I get this book? I don't know. I'm searching for the historic Jesus. Then this book is an old, very old book. It was probably published maybe 80 years ago. I don't know. Let's find out. Mm, oh, no, it was written 110 years ago, I think. Maybe, let's see, when was it first written? Oh, the first German edition was put out in 1906. Huh, that's weird. I don't get it. Well, the name of the author is, I think it's Albert Schweitzer. That's what it says. It's a critical study of its progress from Reimarus to Rede. Introduction by James M. Robinson. I don't, let's see, Library of Congress card says first Macmillan paperback edition 1961. Copyright 1968 by James M. Robinson? I don't get it. So James M. Robinson. Uh, no, the preface is by Burkitt in 1910. Then it has an introduction. Let's see who wrote. When was the introduction written? It was um, going to the end of the introduction. It's pretty long. It's got notes, notes, and notes. It doesn't have a date when the introduction was written. I think it's. I thought I saw 1910 somewhere. Oh, here's 1910. The preface was written in 1910, but that means that the book must be older. But then it's got a copyright of 1968. And then it's got a first Macmillan paperbacks edition, 1961. But then it was translated from the German edition in 1906. So, oh man, this is strange. Oh, the introduction is from 1968. Get it. Let's see. Let's find out. Maybe the introduction will give me an idea. So I'm reading The Nature of Schweitzer's Achievement. Maybe I should go like this. I should flip the, there we go. There we go. Uh, so the introduction of this book, it's about the, hmm, it's like the history of the quest for the for Jesus, as in historically, like they're trying to prove that Jesus existed historically, perhaps. Like they're trying to find him in history because there's not much about him except in the four gospels, just four little books. Let's see, let's say here. So, introduction. So, the meat of this book is by a guy named Schweitzer. Oh, you know what? I should look up who Schweitzer was. So I go like this. I'm gonna tap on this and then tap over here in web, and then I'm gonna type in duck go go .com. Is it like that? No, that's not it. What's the duck go? No, I'm gonna type in Bing.com. And then I'm gonna type in duck go go duck go go. Oh, it's duck duck go. I had it backwards. Duck duck go. Oh, okay, so it's duck duck go, not duck go go. Let's see. So I'm gonna type in Albert, not Einstein, but Albert Schweitzer, and then I get Albert Schweitzer. There he is. Let's see. What's he famous for? Hmm. I got I got a lot of results. Hmm. guess I'll try the one of these. Oh my goodness. My phone's battery's dying. Gotta plug it in. Uh, there we go. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna read this one. It's from Britannica. Oh, I can. I wonder if you can listen to this. Yep. Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, wow. Mm, mm. Despite the occasional criticisms of Schweitzer's medical practice as being autocratic and primitive, despite the opposition sometimes raised against his theological works, his influence continues to have a strong moral appeal, frequently serving as a source of encouragement for other medical missionaries. Mm. Well, That's what we learned from Albert Schweitzer. And what about the Wikipedia? Ludwig, Ludwig Philipp Albert Schweitzer. Uh, wow. 1875 to 1965. Wow. He lived 90 years. Seems like was an Alsatian polymath. Alsatian? What's that mean? Alsatian? Alsace, Alsace, U.S. Low Alemannic German is a cultural region and a territorial collectivity in eastern France, in the west bank of the Upper Rhine, next to Germany and Switzerland. It had a population of almost 2 million. Alsatian culture is characterized by a blend of German and French influences. Wow. Oh, look where it's at. It's, wow, maybe I was stationed in Germany pretty close to that area. Hmm, interesting. Okay, so what else? So what's he's a polymath. A polymath is what's a polymath? Is having learned much. An individual whose knowledge spans a substantial number of subjects, known to draw on complex bodies of knowledge to solve specific problems. So Benjamin Franklin is one of the foremost polymaths in history. Franklin was a writer, scientist, inventor, statesman, diplomat, printer, and political philosopher. One of the founding fathers of the United States. Oh, oh, sorry. Let's see. Let's see. How do I get back? Okay. So Schweitzer. So he's a polymath. What else? He was a theologian, organist, musicologist, writer, humanitarian, philosopher, and physician. A Lutheran minister, Schweitzer challenged both the secular view of Jesus as depicted by the historical critical method current at his time, as well as the traditional Christian view. His contributions to the interpretation of Pauline Christianity concern the role of Paul's mysticism of being in Christ as primary in the doctrine of justification by faith as secondary. The quest for the historical Jesus. Okay, the quest for the historical Jesus consists of academic efforts to determine what words and actions, if any, may be attributed to Jesus, and to use the findings to provide portraits of the historical Jesus. Since the 18th century, that's like 1700s, three scholarly quests for the historical Jesus have taken place, each with distinct characteristics and based on different research criteria, which were often developed during each specific phase. These quests are distinguished from earlier approaches because they rely on historical methods to study biblical narratives, while textual analysis of biblical sources had taken place for centuries, these quests introduced new methods and specific techniques to establish the historical validity of their conclusions. The enthusiasm shown during the first quest diminished after Schweitzer's critique of 1906, in which he pointed out various shortcomings in the approaches used at the time. The second quest began in 1953 and introduced a number of new techniques, but reached a plateau in the 1970s. In the 1980s, a number of scholars gradually began to introduce new research ideas, initiating a third quest characterized by the latest research approaches. Since the late 2000s, concerns have been growing about the usefulness of the criteria of authenticity and proclamations of a more expansive and genuinely interdisciplinary next quest. While there is widespread scholarly agreement on the existence of Jesus, as in on the existence of Jesus as a person having been born, uh, Jesus, and having gathered disciples, and the disciples spread the word and it becoming a religion. So Jesus is considered the founder of that religion. So did that Jesus exist physically and mentally and things like that? So let's see what the footnote indicates. Footnote A. In a 2011 review of the state of modern scholarship, Bart Ehrman, who is a secular agnostic, wrote, "He certainly existed, as virtually every competent scholar of antiquity, Christian or non-Christian, agrees." So he certainly did exist according to Bart Ehrman. What's the 11 say? Michael Grant, a classicist, states that in recent years, no serious scholar has ventured to postulate the non-historicity of Jesus, or at any rate, very few, and they have not succeeded in disposing of the much stronger, indeed very abundant evidence to the contrary. In the that That's what he wrote. What Michael Grant wrote in the book, in the work, is titled "Jesus: An Historian's Review of the Gospels" by Michael Grant. Let's see. That might be an interesting book to investigate. 2004. So you go copy, and but I'll check it out later. In the basic consensus on the general outline of the portraits of Jesus constructed in the quests have often differed from each other and from the image portrayed in the gospel accounts. There are overlapping attributes among the portraits, and while pairs of scholars may agree on some attributes, those same scholars may differ on other attributes, and there is no single portrait of the historical Jesus that satisfies most scholars. Let's see what this says. Mm, There's a, let's see. Let's see. Familiar stranger, an introduction to, let's see, Amy Jill Levine in the historical Jesus in context. No single picture of Jesus has convinced all or even most scholars. Mm, Let's see what quests. Lives of Jesus. Eh. The quest of the historical Jesus coined the term. So I guess the book, in this book that I'm looking at, it was the first time that the word historical Jesus was used. Probably. Is that what it says? Hmm. Let me read on. As the Enlightenment ended, various scholars in Europe began to go beyond textual analysis in the development of gospel harmonies and began to produce biographies of Jesus, typically referred to as lives of Jesus. Let's see, what are gospel harmonies? A gospel harmony is an attempt to compile the canonical gospels of the Christian New Testament into a single account. This may take the form either of a single merged narrative or a tabular format with one column for each gospel, technically known as a synopsis, although the word harmony is often used for both. A synopsis? What about, isn't there another word for it? Uh, Harmony? What about the word concordance? Hmm. I thought that those were called concordance. Says the Four Evangelists by Jacob Jordanes. The Four Evangelists. They probably never met. Mm, mm. Harmonies are constructed for a variety of purposes to create a readable and accessible piece of literature for the general public, to establish a scholarly chronology of events in the life of Jesus as depicted in the canonical Gospels, or to better understand how the accounts relate to each other. Among academics, the construction of harmonies has been favored by conservative scholars. The one scholar, B.S. Childs, opposes this. Students of higher criticism see the divergences between the gospel accounts as reflecting the construction of traditions by the early Christian communities. Among modern academics, attempt to construct a single story have largely been abandoned in favor of laying out the accounts in parallel columns for comparison to allow critical study of the differences between them. The earliest known harmony is the Diatessaron by Tatian in the 2nd century, and variations based on the Diatessaron continued to appear in the Middle Ages. In the 16th century, there was witnessed a major increase in the introduction of gospel harmonies, and the parallel column structure became widespread. At this time, visual representations also started appearing, depicting the life of Christ in terms of a pictorial gospel harmony, and the trend continued into the 19th and 20th centuries. Uh, hmm. The oldest approach to harmonizing consists of merging the stories into a single narrative, producing a text longer than any individual gospel. This creates the most straightforward and detailed account, and one that is likely to be most accessible to non academic users, such as lay churchgoers or people who are reading the Gospels as a work of literature or philosophy. There are, however, difficulties in the creation of a consolidated narrative. As John Barton points out, it is impossible to construct a single account from the four Gospels without changing at least some parts of the individual accounts. One challenge with any form of harmonizing is that events are sometimes described in a different order in different accounts. The Synoptic Gospels, for instance, describe Jesus overturning tables in the temple at Jerusalem in the last week of his life, whereas in the Gospel of John records a counterpart event only towards the beginning of Jesus' ministry. Harmonists must either choose which time they think is correct or conclude that separate events are described. Lutheran theologian Andreas Osiander, for instance, proposed in Harmonia Evangelica in 1537 that Jesus must have been crowned with thorns twice, and that there were three separate episodes of cleansing of the temple. On the other hand, commentators have long noted that the individual Gospels are not written in a rigorous chronological format. This means that an event can be described as falling at two different times and still be the same event, so that the substantive details can be properly brought together in a harmony. Although the harmonists will still have the task of deciding which of the two times is more probable. Hmm. So let's see. So just to get an idea of what we're up to in this book. So let's see. Let's see if we can read the first chapter. It's called The Problem. Let's see if I can read it through my phone. When at some future day our period of civilization shall lie closed and completed before the eyes of later generations, German theology will stand out as a great, a unique phenomena in the mental and spiritual life of our time. For nowhere saved in the German temperament can there be found in the same perfection the living complex of conditions and factors, of philosophic thought, critical acumen, historical insight, and religious feeling, without which no deep theology is possible. And the greatest achievement of German theology is the critical investigation of the life of Jesus. What it has accomplished here has laid laid down the conditions and determined the course of the religious thinking of the future. I'm getting I'm getting tired, and I get tired easily when I'm reading and sleepy. Maybe I'll take a nap and then wake up later and continue reading, maybe. Who knows? Maybe not. But this is there must be some tremendous information waiting to be uncovered in this book. That's it looks like it's over 100 years old, and it seems like he wrote it at a very young age. Because if he died in 1965, he was born in 1875. So at the turn of the century, he was 25, and so maybe he had started serious investigation and had written this book by the turn of the century, because the first translation from Germany was in 1906. So when did he write this book? Oh, let's go back. Let's go let's go investigate, because I have the book with me, but I can't figure out uh can't figure out when it was written. Let's see. The title of the book is called The Quest of the Historical Jesus. The Quest of the his historical Jesus. Let's see. The Quest of the Historical Jesus. Gutenberg. What's this? Is this the actual book in PDF? Can't seem to open this. Oh, that's a PDF. Quest for this historical Jesus. This is on Amazon. Oh, I can get it. I can get it on Kindle. Available instantly. I can buy it for free. Really? Can't believe it. God, Chita. Easy. I can't remember the spelling. Easy. A-C. A-Z-L-G. Shit, I can't remember how you spell this. Let's see. A-M-Z. I don't know if that's the right password. Uh, oh shit. Let's see. Let's see if this is it. I don't remember my password. Oh man, I can't remember my password. Let's see. Let's see. Just 3, 6. Oh, I bought it. Uh, so I can flip over to the that's pretty amazing. Okay. So I can read this book on my Kindle now, but I won't do it right now. Uh, so I started reading. I guess that's the chapter. The first chapter is titled "The Problem." So I guess we start off by what is the problem? What is the issue that we're gonna solve? So what's the big deal? What is the problem? And then the rest of the book is going to be about trying to solve the problem, I suppose. What's I reading here? Oh, it's talking about how wonderful German, I don't know, German theology is or has become. And that was over 100 years ago, maybe 120 years ago. And it's saying that the greatest achievement of German theology is the critical investigation of the life of Jesus. What it has accomplished here has laid down the conditions and determined the course of the religious thinking of the future. So, I didn't get much. I didn't get very far, but I think I kind of get uh, again get an idea what it might be about. So, oh, I'm showing my legs. Okay, I'm gonna flip over and show my face. I can't see. Flip over. Flip, flip, flip. There we go. I flipped over the camera, but I'm feeling kind of like I need to rest. Maybe I'm not able to breathe well lying down, but I got sleepy. So, good night, and see you next time. Maybe I'll continue this book another day. I hope so. To give it a chance to become more interesting. Right now, it's we haven't gotten much out of it. Well, we kind of get what it's going to be about a little bit just by the name of the title. Maybe that's not exactly what it's going to be about, but that's what I get so far. The title is The Quest of the Historical Jesus, correct? The Quest of the, yeah, by Albert Schweitzer with a new introduction by James M. Robinson. But I skipped the introduction and went to the first chapter. But maybe I'll read the introduction next time. So, you guys, oh, you know what I ought to do? I ought to go over to YouTube, see if anybody's chatting. Hmm. No. Oh no, maybe somebody might be. No, nobody's here. No, nobody's here. I was hoping somebody would have shown up. How do I get a job fast if I want to get one? Oh, I don't know. Um, I don't know. 43 is reading. Okay. So